Hello, good morning, good evening, good night, whenever you're watching this video, whenever you're listening to this podcast. This is Lamarr Townsend. I am a psychic, an energy channeler, a tarot reader, an astrologer, and a high value spiritual man. In this podcast and in this series called Through the Fire, I will be teaching all men, whether you are gay, straight, bisexual, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Latino, purple, blue, green, whatever walk of life you are. This is all about how to teach you to become a high value man, but maybe through watching this content and listening, either, as a man or a woman, you will also be able to spot and maybe somehow attract a high value spiritual man yourself. So I believe all people can learn from this content, but just know that specifically my demographic that I'm trying to reach with this content is men. So, whether you are a man or a woman, I definitely recommend and encourage you to share this with all men in your life, young, old, and in between. All right. So let's get into it. Why is this called Through the Fire? Well, first of all, shout out to Psychic Bella. First of all, before I even get that out of the way, this is going to be posted on YouTube, so subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button. Check out my Vimeo, vimeo.com/Lamarr Townsend Tarot for exclusive content, such as part 2 to a lot of my psychic readings on YouTube and extra content. Also, make sure that you follow me on my Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Lamarr Townsend Tarot for extra content and to stay in touch. I do post on my social media quite often. I'm drinking my chicory root coffee slash, it's more so of a coffee consistency chicory root, but it's good for digestion and things of that nature. It's also a good healthy alternative to coffee if you are trying to cut coffee or any things like that. I personally could never cut coffee. I love a good cup of black coffee all the way. All right, but if you put sugar and all that type of stuff in your coffee, good for you. I like my coffee like I like my men, black. All right. I also like white and almond in between. I do not discriminate. So, stick around, stay tuned if you are into any of the topics that I'm going to talk about. Why is it called Through the Fire? Well, okay, so sorry. I do get sidetracked sometimes. I am a Mercury and Mars in Sagittarius, meaning that I do have slight ADD. Work with me. So, shout out to Psychic Bella Love, I believe on Instagram, or just Psychic Bella on Instagram. She's also on YouTube. I do the Tracy Brown show with her on YouTube. Tracy Brown is another fellow psychic. Check out her channel. She's funny. She's a legendary and all things of that nature. And Psychic Bella Love actually gave me the idea to start doing content or start doing a series for men about how to level up and how to become high value, so that they can start attracting the things that they want into their life, and start living the life they want to live. There's not really anyone out here talking to men, especially from a spiritual perspective. So she felt like I could do it, and I was like, you know what? That sounds like, I could do that, but it also sounds like some fun, interesting, challenging content for me to actually pursue. So here I am. So shout out to Psychic Bella Love. I'm pretty sure she's going to watch this video. Through the Fire, first of all, the first thing that came to mind, what she helped me come up with the name and the concept as well. The song by Kanye West, Through the Wire, Through the Limit to Go On, which I think is technically Shaka Khan, but still, nonetheless, Kanye West sampled it, and it's the first thing I think of, my generation thinks of when we hear Through the Fire. So, and then the spiritual aspect that I put on it. I am a spiritualist. I come from a spiritual community. That is my niche on YouTube and on the internet, but I am way more than that. So, I want to, help, people. I want to help just people in general. So, one thing within the spiritual community is that the spiritual walk, the spiritual journey, the the process of leveling up spiritually and growing spiritually is difficult. Just as difficult, if not more difficult, than it is to level up physically and things of that nature, and just mentally and things of that nature, right? Spiritual leveling up can feel like going through the fire. Spiritual leveling up can be, being tested to your limits, and, you know, going through certain triggers and dealing with certain triggers that are gonna make you feel like you're on fire sometimes, or going through the fire. But inevitably, when you make it through, and you start leveling up and you become more high value, a high value man or a high value woman, in this case, a high value man, you make it to the other side. You make it through the fire. So I'm here to teach men how to make it through the fire, all right, and become high value, not only high value, but spiritually high value as well, all right, because I think sometimes we forget that value not only comes from the outside, which I have my microphone here, so if you hear any weird noises, I'm sorry. We're not only gonna talk about, we're not only gonna talk about sorry, I just have too many thoughts going on in my mind right now. We're not only going to talk about how to level up physically, we're also going to talk about how to level up mentally, emotionally, and most of all, spiritually. Because I believe that the real level up comes from the inside out. Excuse me. And if you watch a lot of dating coaches or life coaches or level up coaches, gurus, whatever you want to call them, online or whatever, a lot of the good ones do focus on the internal level up and as well as the external level up. Because, you can level up externally, but it really won't matter if you're not doing the same thing internally and spiritually. So that's my focus, is the internal and spiritual, but we also are going to level up on the physical as well, because I do 100% believe that appearance matters, okay? And the way you look matters, all right? But that won't necessarily be the main focus here, all right? We're talking about getting through the fire and getting to the other side, so that that's the first step to leveling up. And then once you get through that fire, that's when you can really start focusing on your appearance and start feeling good about yourself and accomplish anything. The world, the sky is your limit, right? So that's the purpose of this podcast. That's the purpose of this content in this series. So if you want to join the ride, I am glad to have you. What is a high value spiritual man? A high value spiritual man is a man that, number one, is able to care for himself, meaning you have your own job, you have your own business, which is even better. You don't necessarily need to rely on anyone for a job, meaning you don't get money from, or you don't need to ask people, family, friends for money. You don't need to necessarily go to the government or anything like that for money. But when you do, or if you have to, because inevitably life happens, especially in this pandemic, COVID situation that we're in, you're able to, do what you need to do and then level back up. You don't stay there, all right? That's a high value spiritual man. A high value spiritual man is also a man that is able to stand on his own. He doesn't necessarily need a partner, a man, a wife, a woman, or whoever on his side, in his bed, all right, or, anything like that to feel high value or to be high value, to feel like they're worth something, all right? A high value man loves life. They love what they do. They wake up, they take care of themselves. The high value man does take care of himself, all right? That comes from self-love, right? So when you love yourself, you take care of yourself. You want to make sure that you look good at all times, right? So a high value man is going to make sure he looks good at all times. He's going to make sure that he wears clothes that are tailored to his body or that fit his body, and accentuate his good features, no matter his body shape or body size, all right? Although a high value man will also take care of his body as well, because that is a part of appearance and a part of self-love, going to the gym, feeding your body good foods, drinking water, things of that nature. A high value man takes into account his hair, his nails, the small details, the things that he does put into his body, his skin. All of these factors play a part into a high value man. Um, Now, when it comes to this, a high value spiritual man. A high value spiritual man is someone, a high value man, but a high value man that's rooted somehow in spirituality. Because what you don't know is that you can actually use spirituality to also level up to become high value. I did it. I am a living proof of someone who started from nothing really. And you can look back at my videos, my first videos from YouTube. When I first started making videos, when I first started making videos on YouTube, I was a pizza driver delivering pizzas, talking about how to maximize your profits to make more money from tips, and how to work it so that you made your maximum money as a pizza driver. That was actually one of the first videos and content that I started getting noticed from on YouTube and on social media. So I've leveled up. I'm a testament that it can happen, and I'm still in the process of leveling up. All right. So the level up, number one, a high value man also knows the level up never stops. All right. Like, it's important to not be a know-it-all and to understand that we're all students and teachers in this life, right? So we can all learn from one another, but we can also teach one another. And a high value man understands that. He's a teacher, but he's also a student at the same time. All right. Um, a high value man can provide for themselves, but a really high value man can also provide for others as well. All right, and can sustain that. And look good while doing it. Be mentally sound, spiritually sound, and emotionally sound while doing it. And how do you get a mentally and emotionally sound? You can actually do it through spirituality. See, spirituality is a super vast thing. Spirituality can become a part of your fashion statement, your style. For me, spirituality is who I am, so it's also a part of my style. One way to remain spiritually grounded is to wear crystals. But see how I'm wearing crystals and it looks good, it looks presentable, right? This is a Herkimer diamond, which helps you to attune into the energy of spirit, helping you to easier channel the messages from spirit. All right. This is citrine, which is good for money, good luck, and happiness. This is rose quartz, good for love. All right. This is moldavite. This is a tektite, and it's good for drastic change in your life. If you want some drastic change in your life, get some moldavite. Not everyone can handle moldavite, though. Then I've got some evil eye bracelets that I made with jasper stone. I make bracelets, by the way. I make jewelry. And these bracelets over here, I made all of these bracelets. I made these two necklaces. I made these two necklaces myself. And then I bought this one off Etsy. So, but I wear my crystals all the time. Sometimes I wear them to bed because it helps to ground me. It's a part of my spirituality. It's a part of my spiritual practice. All right. So I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for many years now. All right. Another way you can, you use spirituality is to meditate. Is one of the another easiest ways to use spirituality. Saging your space. I think a lot of people don't always take into account our energy. Energy is so important, and a high value man understands that. You know, um, it's nothing. For you to be a Fortune 500, billionaire, but your energy is dense and heavy and dark. That takes you down notches. You know, but someone who's a billionaire who's also aware, spiritually aware, sound to some degree. Um, Like almost I think of like maybe like someone like Mark Cuban. Even though I've never necessarily heard him talk about spirituality, from what I've seen from him, he seems like sound enough to be aware, like, or to understand that world, of energy. All right. And if you look at him, he always seems to have good energy. That's just one example. All right. Um, Elon Musk is an even better example. You know, um, also keeping in mind opinions, beliefs, perceptions, perspectives aside, just based off of what I've said, a high value spiritual man is alone. I believe Elon Musk to be a high value spiritual man. You know, um, Mark Cuban as well. Um, Trying to think of others, but Elon Musk is the top one. You can't tell me that dude's not spiritual, right? Maybe we could do a podcast episode on him one day and totally deconstruct him. I think that would be fun. But you use spirituality, you use all these things. You use crystals, you use meditation, you use saging and cleansing your energy through spiritual baths. And the spiritual bath is basically drawing a bath. Hopefully you have a bath where you live. If not, maybe if you have a body of water with natural sea salt in it. Um, but you draw a bath, lukewarm bath, and you pour some sea salt or Epsom salt in it, and you just soak in the bath. And what the sea salt does, the Epsom salt does, is that it cleanses your energy. Epsom salt, sea salt is an energy neutralizer. So it's going to neutralize all that negative energy, and you're going to feel the difference. People are going to feel the difference. One thing that happens every time someone walks into my home is that they're always like, the energy feels so good in here. It's always good vibes because I always make sure that I, sage my apartment out. I'm always focused on spirituality, doing my candles. You can see behind me, I'm into plants and stuff like that, right? So energy is really important. Your energy matters just as much as your bank account, the way you look, the way you dress. All right. Because you could be a 10, but if your energy is a 5, that's when you open yourself up to attracting less than you deserve, less than worthy, opportunities in love and dating and money and business. Because of your energy. Your energy attracts everything to you. Not your status, not the way you look, not, the pictures you put on Instagram. It's all your energy. And then everything else comes secondary. Because if you have good energy, then we can work on the rest. If you have good energy, and if you emit positive energy, then we can work on your style. We can work on your bank account. We can work on, the outside. But the inside is where the true work lies. Through the fire. All right? And on the other side, you come out a high value man, a high value spiritual man. All right? Um, a little bit about me and how I started using spirituality to level up and become a high value spiritual man. For me, it started when I was in college. I graduated college with a degree in advertising. I went to VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. Shout out to Richmond. Shout out to RVA. Um, I went to school for advertising. Originally went for business. Then I changed my degree because I'm way too creative. And then I ended up talking to a counselor, a career counselor, something like that. And he helped me, or helped lead me to advertising, creative advertising. And I was graduating, and I remember I was going on interviews, and it's that point, I don't know if you've been to college before, if you're listening or watching, but there's always a point right before you graduate college or senior year. For me, it was my super senior year, where it's like, oh crap, now I have to really get my stuff together and be an adult and level up. Like if there's any moment in your life where you're like forced to level up, or you kind of realize, dang, I need to level up, it's when you're about to graduate college. Because at least in the pre-quarantine world, I don't know how it's going to work with after COVID, but the pre-COVID, that's how life was. All right, and because when you're graduating college, that's when the job search starts, and it was competitive, in the advertising world, because for me, it was all about my portfolio and my work. And I didn't always have, like, I think most of the work I did that I showed in my interviews was work I did from college, because I didn't really have that much work, or experience out of school. But in the meantime, while I was doing internships and stuff like that after I graduated, I was doing YouTube still, and my focus on YouTube then was astrology. So then I was into, I was doing tarot readings for clients and stuff like that. By the time I graduated college, I was doing birth chart readings, and so this was around, probably I had like maybe 6,000 like something subscribers on YouTube. Um, and then I graduated with my degree. I was going on interviews. I was buying clothes from Kohl's and stuff like that, what I thought looked good. I had my dreadlocks, which I recently cut off my dreadlocks. But I was just in a bad shape. I wasn't eating the healthiest. I wasn't like liking my body. I knew that like I wasn't in shape. Um, and I wasn't sure exactly of where I wanted to go. Um, and this was the very beginning of my spiritual journey, so I probably wasn't as spiritually sound then as I am now. Um, and I feel like I was just all over the place. But the one thing I kept doing was my YouTube, which was incorporated spirituality. So I graduated college. I ended up getting an internship that I absolutely hated. And it's funny because I started the internship really excited. I put a lot of effort into the way I looked, and by the end of the internship, I really didn't care how I looked. When I went to work, I would wear like oversized hoodies and sweatpants to work. By the end, and it's always a sign to me, when how someone looks and how they show up to certain functions, their mental state. Like, if someone shows up to a formal function with like sweatpants or something like that, that says a lot that they're probably not in a high value mental state, right? Um, but one place that I did put effort into the way I looked was YouTube, right? And I continued putting effort into YouTube. Eventually it broke, and I was able to just do YouTube and not work. And that's when my really high value spiritual level up began, because it then became more about my work, and my work was about me and my journey and my knowledge, and how I was able to teach others about what I knew. But also, because I was on camera all the time, it became also about how I looked, my presentation, always making sure that at least I came on camera presentable. Um, but then somewhere in that journey, I realized that like there's a place I want to go, and my vehicle to get there is YouTube and social media. But I can't get there if I don't level up to a place of high value, and that's where I am today. I've been doing the work, and the work's led me here to this podcast, to this content, to help you. All right. The biggest thing for me when it came to my level up of becoming high value was working through my triggers, my traumas, my emotional issues, things that held me back, things that caused me to sabotage myself, and things of that nature. This included self sabotaging thoughts, childhood issues. There were points when I was younger when maybe I was drinking too much and wasn't as focused, right? Especially in college. So all these things played a part in realizing if I want to become high value, there's certain things I gotta let go of. There's certain things I need to work through. Um, And there are ways of working through them, counseling, therapy. But for me, I felt more comfortable going the spiritual route. And I learned a lot through spirituality, and I learned a lot about myself through spirituality. And then I learned that I could use spirituality to transform my life. That's when I learned about candle magic. All right. Utilizing candles and the energy of candles, the wick, lighting the candle, letting it burn, setting your intentions to work with the spiritual realm, to work with your ancestors, and also creating ancestor altars, to work with my ancestors and my spirit guides and my angels and God is what really helped to transform my life. Also having a clear focus of where I wanted to be in my life and where I want to be in my life. Where I'm at now in my life, I would say I'm exactly where I want to be in my life now. I'm exactly where I would say I wanted to be maybe 7 years ago. I always, even when I was in high school, making Sims videos, actually Sims music videos on YouTube. I always wanted to be a YouTuber, making money either doing YouTube or just doing something artistic, doing my own thing. Now the goal is to get the bag, meaning to get the ring, to get the husband, to level up, continue to level up myself to where I can move and get a better space, to get a space for my business, to get a studio for my business, an office for my business. There's so many things I want to do, but I realize it all starts with me. And first, it starts with me inside, working on all those blockages that have been blocking me from accomplishing these goals. All right. And then it becomes, how do I look the part of that type of person? How do I kind of fake it till I make it a bit? Until it becomes comfortable, until I become comfortable in that space. Recently I did a complete overhaul of my wardrobe and I got rid of anything and everything that was too big. And I can't tell you how many bags of clothes I ended up donating to Goodwill. But I also can't tell you how drastic of a difference wearing clothes that fit me, fitted clothes, changed my appearance, changed the way I looked. Not going out, even if I'm going to the grocery store, going to Target, not going in sweatpants, not even walking around the house, even though I live alone with my cat, not walking around the house, looking crazy. Because, I have this belief that, at any moment you could have a guest come over. I don't have family that lives too far away. So at any moment they could come over, pop up. Hey, what's up? I want to come over. Let's work on my website. I want you to help me with my website. I want you to help me with this or that. Do you have this? Let me come over and get it. I don't care who's coming over. I want to make sure I look presentable. I want to make sure that my apartment looks presentable. Because I always want to give off the perception, even when it comes to family, that I'm high value. Right? Because details matter. When you portray yourself as high value, people treat you as high value. My family treats me as high value because even when I was young, I've always strived to be high value, but now I'm at a place where I'm actually high value and I'm like pushing forward to be even more valuable, to be even more high value. So now my family and other people have nothing but to respect me. Yeah, I get haters, but when you become high value, that's also a natural thing too, is you get haters and you also learn to deal with your haters. Your haters hate on you because they, one, want to be you, they're jealous of you, envious of you, and that says more about them than it says about you. It says you're doing something right. Right? But that comes also from that spirituality aspect. 3 years ago, I probably, would have been a little bit more agitated or a little bit more put off or a little bit more feeling away about my haters, about my online trolls than I do now. But as I get more high value and as I honestly make more money in my life and as I start living the life more of and start being the person and seeing the person in the mirror that I want to see and be and doing the things I want to do, I don't really care about what people who don't like me think. That's also what a high value man is, or how a high value man is that they don't care about what people think about them. Let that sink in. So many of you care about what people think about you. So many men care about what people think about them, and it blocks you, and that's one thing I had to get over. I mean, especially being an internet personality, a YouTuber, an astrologer, psychic, tarot reader, and a black gay one at that, with dreadlocks. Now I don't have dreadlocks. You know, I'm getting a little bit of a different perception. I actually just got back from Bed Bath & Beyond, and I noticed that the energy was a bit different in me walking in. And mind you, whenever I go out, I always make sure I look presentable. So I was wearing this same shirt. I had on a black pea coat. I have on black pants that you can't see. And I had on my tan Ugg boots. So I always make sure I look presentable. And of course I had my mask on. But it's a nice mask. By the way, I sew and make masks. So I have my own version of this mask. So I have this type of mask on that you pull over your head, and you kind of can wear as a scarf. But you pull it over your face. So... But even though when I had dreads, and I'm not saying if you have dreadlocks that it's a bad thing, but just know that different hairstyles, different ways of dressing, different ways of being are going to get you different types of perceptions. All right? It's in understanding that, though. Even when I had dreadlocks, I understood that. But I never let that get to me. That's what a high value spiritual man does. Even though the odds are against you, you don't let it get to you, and you don't show it. All right. When I walked into Bed Bath & Beyond earlier today, and you know Bed Bath & Beyond can be a little bougie, right? I noticed that, like, I felt very welcome, actually. Which, as a black person, as a black man, you know, you don't always feel, and when I had dreadlocks, it was kind of 50-50 about whether or not, you would feel the comfort, feel welcome when you walked in. Bed Bath & Beyond is one of those stores where they can be a little bit judgmental, right? But I genuinely did not feel judged at all, by my hairstyle at all. So little things like that matter too. For me, personally, I realized that from my level up, I had to cut the dreads. That's for me. For you, it might be different. I realized that I wasn't getting the perception that I felt I deserved. There's also a point where I didn't necessarily like to... My hair was long. I liked that my hair was long, but I didn't necessarily like what came with having dreadlocks in terms of how I was viewed, how I was perceived. And to be honest with you, I think that's why I didn't get some of those jobs that I applied for back then. But I didn't let that get me down. I ended up creating my own business. And now I'm a business owner. Who needs them, right? By the way, if you've never had chicory root, how can I explain it? It tastes like coffee. It has the similar kind of hominess or comfort that coffee brings. Not as bitter, though. And it just tastes more roasted, like a light roasted. But it doesn't have that bitter coffee taste. It's really good. I guess it would be... I've never had decaf coffee because I'm not a big fan of decaf. But I guess it would be similar to decaf coffee. I'm not sure. But it's delicious. It's like kind of late, so it's like 10 o'clock. So I'm like, probably should cup of coffee out for now. So for me, I cut my dreads. And I feel good. I feel a weight's been lifted off my shoulders, to be honest with you. But that's the perception that you bear sometimes when you wear or present yourself in certain ways, you know? So I clued into that. But eventually I'm going to grow my hair out, though, and, continue to let it grow. And you're going to see me rocking a lot of different hairstyles. Uh, you might see me rock it straight one day, curly, cornrows maybe. You never know. But as long as it's all mine, I'm happy, right? It's all mine. Give me a like for the hair, right? I'm just kidding. Um, yeah. A high value man knows when it's time to make a change. Sometimes we age out of things. I think I was aging out of I'm almost about to be in my 30s, so I think it was getting to the point where I was aging out of my dreadlocks. Like a high value man knows when it's time to age out of the graphic t shirts and jeans look or sweatpants look and level up to a more high valuable or high valued look. Doesn't necessarily mean you always have to wear suits, but having a good suit around in the back of your closet is not a bad idea. All right? Still looking for mine. But a high value man knows when it's time to level up. That's the thing, when it's time. You're probably watching this video now because you are listening to this podcast right now because you know it's time. It's time to level up. And why should you listen to me? You should listen to me because I have a unique perspective. I have a little secret. You ready for my secret? I'm gay. But I'm also androgynous. It's not what you think. I'm a cisgender man, meaning I was born with a penis, and I still have my penis for all you straight dudes out there that are confused by my words right now. What was that thing in Rush Hour? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth or whatever? Something like that. I identify with male energy and female energy. So that means I understand both men and women on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, and a mental level. Now, I'm a gold star gay, meaning I've had a girlfriend in college, but I mean, that doesn't really count. We never really did anything. It didn't last that long. Not in college, I mean, high school. Sorry. By college, I was gay. Period. But I've never actually had sex with a woman. I've never, been with a woman like that. But I do understand feminine energy. Sometimes you may see me wear makeup. Sometimes you may see me wear feminine clothing because I am a gay male and I do resonate with feminine energy. And sometimes I look good in feminine clothes and makeup, period. I just got it like that. It's kind of on a lot of the Korean artists you'll see, male artists, one of them that I really like is Bobby. Like, you'll see them wear makeup. It's kind of like that vibe. It's very out of the box. But once again, I'm a high value spiritual man. I don't care what people think. So, but a high value man, a high value spiritual man, once you become high value, you look for it in others and you see it, you see when it's not there in others. All right? So I get a very unique perspective. I can fit in with the women, but I can also fit in with the men too if I, want to. All right? I kind of stay in my own lane. I stay in the middle, somewhere in the middle. But if I have to go over to the left or I have to go over to the right, and be within, either gender's company, I can fit in. You know, I remember there was one sex party I did. They weren't having sex, but they were like, you know, it was a dildo party or something like that with women. And I was doing tarot reading, or I was doing tarot readings. But I remember there was a part where, you know, they had the section where they're selling the dildos and stuff like that, and I was actually sitting there chilling. You know, it was kind of awkward just because I'm a guy, but I have feminine energy to the point where it's like, even in that kind of setting, I don't let that stop me. Like I can still, also because I'm gay, right? Like I can still be one of the girls, you know. And if I want to, I can be one of the guys too, you know. So I get what both of you are looking for, but in this case, I'm here to help my fellas to be high value. Too many of you, especially some of you that come to me, I do have more female clients and watchers and audience than men. Although the men audience and clientele is kind of rising, it's getting up there. I'm sure it'll be more and more men as time goes on after this kind of content, you know, goes up. But um so many of you, I feel like there's no one really talking to you about from a spiritual standpoint, you know. And I feel like, you know, if you would be willing to listen and be willing to stick around, I would be glad to be of assistance. I mean, I would be glad to teach you what I know, you know. But just be mindful that I'm speaking from a spiritual perspective. Um, I am a gay man, but I still have a lot of wisdom. I know what men want. I know what men want. I know what women want. I know what women need, you know. Women are more emotional creatures, you know. I'm in a book club right now full of women, actually. So shout out to actually Destiny, Kiana, Tracy Brown, um, Tiffany, Krishanda. Who am I missing? Wendy, Nikki. Shout out to the book club. I meet with them every Wednesday. Nothing but women, nothing but females. But I never feel, and whether I want to show up as a guy, wearing guy clothes, or whether I want to show up as a, a more feminine, wearing girl clothes and makeup, like it's like they take me however, you know. I mean, I have guys in my life who, kind of you take me however too, but straight guys can be a little weird when it comes to like guys and makeup and stuff like that. But whatever, you'll get used to it. All right, the more you follow this channel. All right. I think that's the episode for today. Episode 1 of Through the Fire. I'm gonna have to figure out a theme song. I'm gonna have to create a theme song or something like that. I have a theme song for my regular videos, my psychic readings and astrology content called Psychic with the T. Psychic with the T, that's me. But I want to do something different for this series. So this is gonna be fun. So this is also in podcast format. I'm also thinking of expanding this depending on how it goes. I may expand this to either Vimeo or maybe Patreon or something like that. Because I want to make it a group for men, for us to kind of help each other, and for maybe classes or seminars. So I mean, we can do Facebook or something like that. But I just want a group of men. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think so far of episode 1. Give me some maybe pointers of what you want to hear, what you would like to hear, and things of that nature. All right. Eventually, I do plan to do live streams as well, where maybe I'll have you call in or something like that. We'll see how this goes. I would love, 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 love to have guests on. So some high value men guests, some women too. We need to get some female perspective up in here as well, all right, for sure. So I'm down. This is going to be fun. I hope you all enjoyed episode 1 so far. This is episode 1 of Through the Fire, how to be a high value spiritual man. Thank you all so much for listening. Remember, if you want a reading from me, let me show you my website before I go. All right, let me pull up Firefox here. Let me exit out of Google Chrome and go to Firefox. This is my website. So if you want a reading from me, this is my website. You can schedule your reading with me via Schedule Now button. Depending on how this goes, I might start doing consultations for like high value men consultations or something like that. We might come up with a different name for it. We'll see how it goes. I'll figure out the branding. But yeah, you can go to the Schedule Now button. Also, go to the store section. You know, like I said, I am a psychic, an energy channeler, a tarot reader, and an astrologer. So I do psychic readings, birth chart readings, natal chart readings. I also do past life readings. I do candles. I make scarves and bracelets and face masks. So if you'd be interested in any of those things, definitely check out my website. Once again, follow me on my Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok and things of that nature. And I will see you all in the next episode of Through the Fire. Love and light.